Welcome to another Sapphic Lit author pop-up interview. Today we have Beth Strauss. Beth, how you doing?
Great. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. Happy to have you here. We're going to talk about your book, Tangled Webs. Can you please tell me a little about the book?
It is a mystery romance, and I will fess up right from the get go. It was intended to be a mystery, and I tend to be a pantser. So, about halfway through, it became a romance. So, now it is a mystery romance blend. And this is basically about a middle aged female detective, and she's trying to solve a crime, and at the same time, she's trying to figure out her heart. And I will leave it at that and let everybody read the back cover to learn more.
Nice. Well, that sounds good. So what led you to the creation of this book?
Interestingly, I created the character about 40 years ago. 40, like not 14.
Wow.
I was UC Berkeley, and there was a campus police officer who I thought was freaking hot. And I was too embarrassed, too shy to go over and introduce myself. But I turned to a friend of mine and I said, one of these days I'm going to write a novel about her. And having no idea how to write a novel, mind you. So
Right.
I kept that image. I gave her a fictitious name and I said, she's going to be a detective in Berkeley because this was at UC Berkeley. So 40 years passed, I didn't have a plot. And finally, I was actually in a creative writing class and I just started to get the creative energy going. I came up with the plot and thought, yeah, but I haven't lived in Berkeley in 30 years. So I moved it out to the greater Philadelphia area, took the same character, same name, and plugged her in, plotted out a few points, and then I pantsed my way through it. And that's how Tangled Webs came to be.
I love it. I love it. Do you plan for this book to be a series?
I do. I do. Actually, the first one was released in September. The second one in the series will now come out in September, and I'm actually working on the third. And shockingly, I actually have the fourth, fifth, and sixth planned out. Now we'll wait and see. But yeah, the intent was to kind of keep her alive a little bit longer. And I think with all series, you go as far as it makes sense. And when
Hmm.
it feels like enough of the story, that's when you close out your series and move on.
I love
So
it.
that's
So
where I'm at right.
yeah. Well, it needed like 40 years to fester, and now it's all just seems like it's falling out. So that's great.
Now. There you go.
Yeah. So when you're crafting your novels, what are the key elements you require of your characters, your book, and yourself?
So, really important to me is to make everything realistic. And what I mean by that is, I have a character who is an investigator and is solving crimes. And I don't want her to ever look like she just came out of Law and Order or some other Hollywood episode. I want it to look real life. And I say this because I've read people's novels about, and they have a character that's a nurse, and I'm a nurse. And they tell a story that's like that. That's not what we do on the hospital floor. And so I don't ever want to do that out of respect for anybody in law enforcement. So I always want my stories to be realistic. So I will go out and actually talk to the people that do the job. And I'll even tell them, this is what my character is trying to solve. This is the crime. What do you do? Go, and then eventually pin it down to very specific questions. So having it be realistic is very, very important to me. But I'm also one of those authors that I really like to have a message. So every story has a theme. I like to finish with a message. And in the first novel, it's really about a middle-aged woman who's coming out later in life and the struggles that one goes through. It's very different than those of us who came out in our teens or even our early 20s. And I went through this. And so I really wanted to tell this story of a woman that's really trying to come to terms with all this, having lived her entire adult life as a straight woman. In the second novel, I deal with sexual abuse. And the message there is about making sure the woman's voice is heard. And that, of course, is very relevant to what we're dealing with in this day and age. So keeping it real and having a message is really important to me.
Oh, I like that. So do you have messages lined up for the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth?
I don't. but
They'll
but
come.
what'll happen, very likely what'll happen is as I start to write it, it'll be like, yeah, this is the what I want to hit on. So I knew after the first one, there were two characters that I, of course, had created that I hated. They were so nasty to my main character. I hated them. And I wanted to get back at them. And that's what kind of became the springboard for the second story or the second novel. And as I started writing it, it's like it's about sexual assault. I have a message I want to say about that. And so that's kind of what happens is as I'm writing it, I see the message that I want to bring out, and hopefully it's relevant to current affairs at the time.
I love it. I love it. Books should have messages, sometimes, but it keeps the story interesting, and as the author, it keeps you focused and enjoying it. Well, that's great, and this went fast, so thank you for taking the time to talk with me.
Not a problem. This was great. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to read this one and the next one, and then all the rest.
Yeah, slow down.
It's all good. Then we'll watch them on Netflix. Thank you. All right.